Thanks for joining us for CVM Live, the noon edition. For more news and sports desk, I'm Carolyn Brown. Welcome also to our viewers online at cvmtv.com, accessible when you download our CVM TV app at the Google Play Store or at the App Store. The Jamaica Labour Party's 76th annual conference, staged at the National Arena in Kingston yesterday, is now history. The conference, under the theme Building Jamaica, saw the JLP leader Andrew Holness providing his progress report on his administration's performance and charting what he says is the way forward, with plans to remain the ruling party. Robian Williams has the highlights.
A massive, electrifying crowd. The doors were ordered shut as the arena was full to capacity. After a praise and worship session, chairman of the conference, Desmond Mackenzie, did a roll call of the representatives to kickstart the festivities. The bigwigs flocked the stage, including former Prime Minister Bruce Golding, Dr. Horace Chang, Kamina Johnson-Smith, Robert Montague, among others. The conference featured special guest speaker Prime Minister of Grenada Dr. Keith Mitchell, and a moment of silence was observed for the members of the party who passed away, including a tribute to the late former Prime Minister Edward Seaga. Prime Minister Andrew Holness arrived sporting a jersey sweater with Builder printed on the back and a hat with the words "Most On Bro God." He gave an overview of his administration for the 3 years in power. In his hour-long presentation, he addressed several issues including crime, corruption, education, and Brand Jamaica.
The Jamaica Labour Party, since taking government, has increased Jamaica's presence and participation on the global scale. I am not certain if there has ever been a time in Jamaica's history where Jamaica has had such a global and international profile. Through our foreign policy, we will build Jamaica as an open, free, democratic, competitive, efficient, safe, secure, smart, and sustainable society where people from all over the world will choose to invest, trade, innovate, produce, live, leisure, raise families, and retire in paradise.
Though the next general election is constitutionally due in 2021, there has been heightened speculations that the government will be going to the polls soon.
And very soon, we will have everything in place. And when everything is in place, you will see me reach for this bell.
Robian Williams for CVM Live.
There are mixed responses from players within the local telecommunications industry following the overwhelming reports of service disruptions over the past couple of months. Guests on CVM Live's panel discussion, co-CEO of Ready TV, Chris Daring, and chairman of the National Democratic Movement, Michael Williams, discussed the balance between protecting the island's telecoms providers and enforcing the law. More from Jamila Maitland.
The men argued that the government must act and enforce the law on both cable and wireless, which trades as Flow, and Digicel, following mounting complaints from customers about service interruptions. The Office of Utilities Regulation announced that it has instructed both Digicel and Flow to notify its customers of service interruptions. Customers have reported that their broadband has been disconnected for days without a message from their providers. Chairman of the National Democratic Movement, Michael Williams, says they must be held accountable.
Flow need to get their act together, but until the OUR get its act together also, the OUR is, I think,
in terms of holding the
right, and penalizing them where it hurts at the bottom line, in their pockets.
Meanwhile, CEO of Ready TV, Chris Daring, argued that there is a need for more competition in the market. Daring, who also provides digital services, says the government should speed up the processes for granting spectrum licenses. He adds that the process is not transparent.
You can go to the FCC in the US website and see who owns and licenses what spectrum. Jamaica, we don't tell anybody. And so the process to me is very lacks transparency.
So you're saying
it doesn't create the opportunity for people to go and get that spectrum.
However, he's also calling on the government to protect the companies, arguing that they're challenged with vandalism and theft, which affect the quality of service to its customers.
You know, the kind of cable theft that takes place on a daily basis, it's hard to hold a cable and wireless or a Flow or Digicel accountable for that. Sure, they're spending lots of money for security, but there should be also national security that prevents that. There should be cultural practices that prevents that. There is lack of infrastructure protection, for instance. You know, it could never happen in the States that a man can just dig up a road, cut a cable while 500 people are out of internet service and nobody gets sued.
Jamila Maitland for CVM Live.
Now, as of January 24 next year, persons applying for a learner's license will be required to pass a road code test in order to receive the permit. The requirement is part of the new Road Safety Act passed in the House of Parliament in 2018. Minister of Transport and Mining Robert Montague says the objective is to ensure that persons are better equipped to use the road while learning to drive. Speaking at the signing of a tripartite agreement involving the Transport Authority, Edufocal Business Limited and British Caribbean Insurance Company for an online training program for drivers and conductors, the minister said you can't drive if you don't know the road code. The minister makes it clear that they are determined to save some lives on the road by taking these little steps. Once you know the road code, he says, only then can you apply for the learner's permit. A CVM Live follow-up now involving an elderly couple in Flanker St. James. Both the man and his wife are suffering from ill health. Several months ago, their lives were on the line as soil erosion threatened to take away their home, a situation which would have affected not only them, as Aladdin Love tells us.
This was in April. Land slippage destroyed a section of a property in Flanker St. James owned by an elderly couple, Leroy and Doreen Willocks, as well as a car belonging to their neighbor below. Already having to deal with ill health, the couple was worried about losing their home. Upon seeking urgent assistance from their political representatives, Councillor for the Flanker Division, Senator Charles Sinclair, immediately committed to preserving life and property. He brought on board a technical team which provided estimates for the damage while he sought funding from the Member of Parliament for the area, Dr. Horace Chang. Fast forward to now, there's renewed hope as great progress is being made. A new retaining wall is almost complete.
I feel 100% good because when it's happened, it's like I was having nightmare. And when I see it in the paper and say I am living on the edge, I was so much hurt. But now I tell you, I am feeling much better than before. And I am thanking Mr. Sinclair. I'm giving thanks to Dr. Chang. Most of all, I'm giving thanks for the Lord for what he has helped us to accomplish here now.
The owner of the vehicle that was destroyed is also grateful for the assistance.
And when I came outside, I was nervous. And then I get in touch with Mr. Sinclair next day. And he came up here and he encouraged me, don't sleep on that side. And he said he's gonna do his best and take care of it. And then I appreciate and I thank him very much for what he done.
The councillor for the division, Senator Sinclair, says the wall is expected to be completed by the end of the year.
In this regard, I want to express appreciation. This is what the government of Jamaica does when you find citizens of Jamaica experiencing difficulty. The government responds appropriately and to provide the finance that is needed. And in fact, the wall that is constructed here, based on the estimates that were done, and we're trying to keep it well within the budget. It would have run some 25 $26 million to construct an appropriate wall to prevent the land slippage continuing.
He adds that this project is a clear indication of a promise made by a political representative that was fulfilled.
Unlocking Jamaica's potential by empowering small and medium-sized enterprises. That was the aim of the private sector organization of Jamaica PSOJ's second workshop for partnership of SMEs. The workshop featured bankers and credit bureaus on an access to finance panel under the theme Fit for Purpose and Pushing Through the Last Mile. Robian Williams tells us more.
The workshop is aimed at developing inclusive growth by improving access to capital for the island's small and medium-sized enterprises. According to the president of the private sector organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, Keith Duncan, Jamaica is at a point of inflection, and despite all the financial achievements, the country's growth rate remains anemic.
So we're able to get through our program and we're able to achieve macroeconomic stability. But some of these areas which were focused on inclusive growth, we were not really able to embed and get it done to have the impact that we really want them to have, and that is to grow access to finance for small and medium enterprises.
Duncan says the partnership of the PSOJ and the Jamaica Bankers Association is expected to bring SMEs up to a level of financial literacy. This is the second of 5 workshops which are geared towards outlining a better macroeconomic framework, which Duncan says equates to growth in the economy.
Workshop 4 will be around working with the SMEs now, because we are actually working through a training program, because we need to get them going. We need to get their sophistication, their business acumen moving.
Governor of the Bank of Jamaica, Richard Balls, endorses this move in enabling increased financial access to SMEs. He, however, brought up another issue.
BOJ is here to give you all the support we can in this respect. Remove bureaucracy to the extent that we can. I'm particularly hopeful that the credit bureau issue can be resolved, because that and NIDS, some form of NIDS, are the keys to opening up opportunities.
In creating a healthy ecosystem for SMEs, the PSOJ plans to engage committed institutions to provide fit-for-purpose programs and have active communication among members. Robian Williams for CVM Live.
Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, says the stigma associated with HIV continues to hinder Jamaica's efforts to achieve its treatment targets and end the AIDS epidemic by 2030. The